If you were in the Paleocene around 2014, then you probably remember this quadrupedal Spinosaurus. Why did this happen and why did we stop considering it? Let's talk about that. So, Spinosaurus is rather infamously a creature that never seems to stay the same way for more than a year. Mark my words, eventually it's going to turn out that they were fully terrestrial animals that hated water and instead slipped through the sand like a snake to catch their prey. Anyways, in the early 2010s, it was found out that Spinosaurus had shorter back legs than previously thought, and because of that, its body was a lot closer to the ground. So, because of that, the fact that it had large arms, and as well as the study that theorized the center of mass would have been kind of in the center of their body, it was thought that, hey, maybe they walked on all fours. Whether they be flat handed or knuckle walkers like a gorilla, a quadrupedal Spinosaurus became a thing, and it kind of shocked everyone. Spinosaurus, of course, had been changed many times before, but this was probably the most drastic change since it was found out what its skull really looked like. For a while, a lot of paleontologists kind of accepted this, and it was just seen as another thing that made Spinosaurus a weird animal. But eventually, criticisms formed of this idea. For one, the rest of its bone structures didn't seem to indicate quadrupedal movement, and for two, people did further studies and found out that the whole center of mass thing was complete nonsense, as basically every other study found out that its center of mass was in its hips, which would suggest bipedal movement. And of course, there's the issue with pronated hands, something that all theropods had, which would have made quadrupedal movement very tricky since that would mean they had to walk using only the sides of their hands, which seems impractical. So eventually this theory just kinda died, became another for the bin of weird paleo theories, and nowadays it's believed Spinosaurus was a biped, just not a very fast one given its short legs. Which, makes sense. It did something with water, maybe. So being fast on land wouldn't be that big of a priority. Now, given how brief this theory was, it didn't manage to make its transition to pop culture very well. With one big exception, though. The video game Ark was in development when this theory was popular, so as such, the Spinosauruses in this game are quadrupeds. Now, later on, they were given an update that allowed them to switch to a biped stance, but still, the fact that they can even be quadrupeds in the first place is a pretty obvious reminder of when this game was developed. Well, no matter how Spinosaurus gets constructed in the future and whether you think it was more like a crocodile or a heron, we can all agree this was a weird time for Spinosaurus.